Sit back and enjoy the newest episode of And Stuff with Donny D. Here we go.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
You are listening to And Stuff
On YouTube,
iTunes,
Spotify.
Anchor, and other podcast venues.
Hey, everybody. Donnie D is in the house. What's happening, everyone? We haven't been around in quite a while. We have been so busy with, vacations and stuff. But anyways, that doesn't excuse me. I know you guys are sitting on the edge of your seats waiting for the wisdom and the power of Donnie D. And if you are one of those people, you're probably one of the only one of those people. But that's okay. I got a special guest. His name is Damian. You guys have seen him before, heard him before. And say hello, Damian.
Hello. How are you doing?
Me or them?
How is everybody doing? I'm sure they're doing well.
Well, I can speak for me. I'm doing great. And the other people just, they don't say much, other than this guy's an idiot.
They're itching.
Yeah, they're itching.
I'm sure.
Kind of like I am. No.
It's the crabs.
Yeah, lobsters.
The lobsters.
Yeah, I just came from Maine.
The lobsters from Maine.
Yes. So speaking of Maine, while we're on that subject real quickly, I wanted to give a shout out, and I'm going to be doing a podcast, an interview podcast with 207 Lobster. It's a Maine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a Maine union that provides and sells lobsters. The fishermen that come in and then bring all these delectable lobsters, or as they say in Maine, lobster. Yeah, the lobster over there with a lot of butter. Gotta have a lot of butter.
A lot of butter.
A lot of butter.
So you met them out there and you talked to them?
Yes. While I was out there, so what I wanted to do is, obviously I wanted to bring some lobster meat home because, so let me break it down for you real quick. So when you go to McDonald's and you order one of those fat burgers or whatever, the burgers that they have, which used to be 10 times better than what they are now, to get it like a Big Mac, a large fry, and a large Coke, it's going to run you, what, $16, $17?
For sure.
Okay, so when I went to Maine and I had a lobster meal, it was a lobster, 1 1/4 pound, French fries, coleslaw, rolling butter, and a drink, $19.97.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And then if you took, you're darn right. And then when you take that lobster, I think there's 180 calories in a lobster and lots of protein. And then you look at the Big Mac and what's it got, like 1,200 calories or something?
Yeah.
So I think I ate healthy. And I seriously, there was a group of us that went. I seriously think that we probably depleted a good portion of the population of lobsters with butter. While we were there, we ate lobster almost every friggin' day. So
that's for $20. That's a sweet deal.
Yeah, yep. And of course, like I said, so we were going to bring some home. So we stopped off at this one place. We drove by. We were in Ellsworth, Maine. And incidentally, while we were out there, that's when that idiot shot up a bunch of people. We were about an hour away from there. and we drove through there, and it was eerie. It was very eerie. It was lots of police everywhere, FBI, G-men. You could see the government plates, and you just knew everybody was looking at everybody, and it was a really weird feeling. And,
yeah, you can feel like heaviness.
Yeah. And you and Heather and quite a few of my other good friends texted me to make sure I was okay, which really, really made me feel good. Thank you very much again. But yeah, I'm glad the guy is gone. He is no longer walking amongst us. Whether it be by his hand, I don't know what the disposition was with him, whether he offed himself or somebody offed him, but he is pushing up daisies right now. And,
Man.
Yeah, what a horrible, horrible situation.
I know. Condolences to those families, man.
Absolutely. I could not imagine. You go, hey, let's go bowling, Damian. Oh, okay. And then, that happens.
Yeah.
And it's
Sad.
so sad. So sad. But, yeah, ate a lot of lobster, saw a bunch of lighthouses, went up onto the Acadia National Park, went to the Bush Seniors in Kennebunkport, did a lot of hiking, of course, a lot of shopping, and a lot,
Yeah.
and a lot of lobster with butter.
A lot of lobster.
I got sick. Okay, so I'm a back east guy. Everybody knows that. I make it very, very apparent that I'm a back east guy. And some of the stuff that now I hated lobster until I was maybe 5-6 years ago. Hated the smell, wouldn't want it. And Catherine said, hey, try it. So I'm like, all right, and just to shut her up. And it was like, ooh, this is pretty good. So I've been eating lobster ever since. And like I said,
Can't stop.
I'm trying to cut down on the lobster population.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yep. So anyways, I kept driving by this place, and it said $7 a pound for lobster. And I was like, wow. So I stopped in, and by the time we left there, it was $7 a pound, but we bought a bunch and brought it back and froze it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's freshly frozen Maine lobster that was freshly caught from the boat, cooked freshly, and freshly sent to us, because it was like $42 for it to be sent to us. But if we carried it on the plane, oh my God, what a pain in the butt that would have been. But,
yeah, trying to bring it back.
Oh yeah, and then an extra carry-on and blah blah blah, and it would have cost us more. And we left on a Friday. They sent it to us on a Monday, and it got here Tuesday morning. So,
that was fast.
So it was quick, overnight.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'll be talking to Mike from 207 Lobster, and shout out to Christina. She was the one that helped us with answering 1,000 different questions. And again, I spoke to Mike. He's the CEO of this union place called 207 Lobster, and super guy, very, very informative. So I set it up, and so I'll be interviewing him within the next couple weeks. Looking forward looking forward to hearing how it all works, and
The ins and outs.
yeah, what the lobstermen go through. And I read a lot of stuff about how to become a lobsterman, and how you have to have an apprenticeship for 2 years. And I mean, you just don't go and buy a lobster boat and
Lobstering.
yeah, and then I was talking to other lobstermen while I was there about their gear and their boat and how long they're out and what they do. I was totally, everybody's looking at me like, come on, can we go now? I'm like, hey, I'm talking. So,
Yeah, I'm talking to this guy.
yeah, and then I had to smother myself with butter.
So is that your next business venture?
No, Absolutely not. I get seasick.
Okay.
But also I wanted to give a quick shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Ron Abe. They listened to us. They talked to Ron the other day, and he and his wife. It was Mary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary.
Yes.
Ron and Mary Abe, and talking to them yesterday, the other day, and super nice people. So shout out, hi Ron, hi Mary, and one of the reasons I have Damian on today is because there's so much stuff happening in the world. And I'm primarily talking about what's happening in Israel and with Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthi and just a bunch of people, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Lebanon. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening. And you know me, I like to know what's happening, but I also like to know biblically what it says in the Bible. And a lot of times I'll pick up the Bible and I get lost because I'm trying to find an answer too quick, and sometimes that doesn't meet my I don't know, maybe ADHD, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's like, so I'm going to call Damian, or I'm going to try to remember this question. Oh, a squirrel.
Oh, squirrel.
Yeah. So that's why I have Damian on today, besides the fact that Damian's he's like my son. I'm proud to know him and proud to have him as a friend. And but he's more.
Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you.
Same to you. Not son, but
I was going to say, I'm your son. I'm an old son.
Yeah.
So what is happening? I mean, here's the latest development of what I know from watching the news and reading papers and going online. And mind you, I will not only listen to one news source, because they're going to spin it the way they want you to think. And I refuse to let that happen. So what I do is I'll read a bunch of different providers of news, or providers of spin, or whatever you want to call it, and then make up my mind based on the general consensus. If everybody's telling pretty much the same thing, then I know that part is pretty much true. When they start going off in a little tangents and getting into, well, this one said that, and that one said, who cares? I want to know the real truth. And so, I don't want to have a conversation with somebody and just be one-sided. I want to be able to understand everything and everybody's point of view. So that's why I got Damian on here today.
That's a great way of differentiating, too, kind of what's, for the most part, pretty accurate, and what's not is by looking at those multiple sources and, like you just said, seeing which ones they're saying kind of the same or similar.
Yep.
And
then I would love to get into this conversation, but it's been a few minutes and I've got to go into a break.
If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave us a review.
Yeah, and we're back. We're back with Damian. How's it going, buddy?
Going good.
Going good.
We're back.
And we're back.
We're back to it.
Yes, we are.
Very well, sir.
Yes. I like some more, sir.
You like some more, please?
Yes, I like some more lobster with some butter.
Right back to the lobster.
Yeah, I can't help it. Yeah. So anyways, let's get into this.
Yeah.
For the next 5, 10, 100 minutes, whatever. Let's get into what's going on, and biblically what the dealio is. one of my biggest questions is, why does everybody hate the Jews and Israel so bad? Do you have any idea?
Right. So, I mean, well, one, and I was looking in and just doing some extra and added research a little bit. And, I mean, part of it is God chose Israel as the Holy Land. So, obviously, with that, and with the devil running rampant, he's going to always do what he can to cause strife and discontent.
And he likes the jealousy too, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Because people are jealous. Oh, they're the chosen people. That's
Chosen
not cool.
one.
What's wrong with us?
Yeah, or why do they get it? Why can't everybody have it? So he's going to use that tool and that power to stir up issues and problems, and that's a lot of where it comes from, or stems from, you know?
You know something I read this morning, preparing for this, is the fact that it said that anti-Semitism also stemmed from Christians, because they thought that the Jews were greedy and manipulative and very self-inclusive and don't want to include anybody else in their stuff. So is that anything that you've heard too, or?
No, definitely have, and it all depends on, you know, someone that is like a true Christian or a believer in the Lord. They believe in His Word. So regardless of how a people act, you know, someone who is, you know, truly believing in God's Word, they'll pray for the people who are in that nation, because although they might be misrepresenting it or doing things that aren't biblically correct or in God's will, we're still to pray for them and not to feel jealousy or like, how can they still be chosen if they're acting this way, or judging, you know, in a sense, it's just judging.
Right.
You shouldn't be judgmental, but yeah, they're definitely still those people that do believe in God, but they choose to judge them for how they act, or it's like, oh man, I can't believe they're still the chosen land or nation for that God chose, but they're still acting this way.
Right. Now, listen, before we go any further, I want to say that I'm not pro this or pro that or anti this and anti that. And I can speak for Damian. He's the same as well. This is informational only. These are questions that I have. Maybe Damian has something that he could ask me, and I could tell him, what the hell are you asking me for? I don't know. But this is strictly for informational purposes, educational purposes, and entertainment purposes. These are, and if you don't want to hear any of this stuff, please turn me off. You know, just listen to another podcast. You know, go to somebody that's going to be.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
I lost you for a second.
Oh.
Lost you for a minute.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that, you know, if people don't like the topic of this or any of my other podcasts that I will do or have done, they have the choice. They could turn it off. But anyways, if you'd like to actually go down this journey with us and try to learn something about why this is happening and blah, blah, blah. Now, a lot of the stuff I may not be 100% perfect with facts, but that's okay too, because that's what they call being human. And you know, if once I get a letter or a phone call or a text or something, I'm going to look into what you say, and then I'm going to correct myself if I'm wrong, or I'm going to fortify what I said if I'm right. So anyways, let's get back to Damian. I just had to throw that disclosure out there so people don't think, oh, he hates Palestinians. Oh, he hates Jews. Oh, he hates... I do love lobster with butter. So,
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent, but I had to get that out.
No, that was good. And yeah, we don't hate anybody.
No.
Called to love everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, that was a good question. And then two, just going back to just to touch on Israel and them, and as far as like blessing them, or God says exactly in Genesis 12:2-3, if you don't mind me touching on this real quick from
go
the
ahead.
Bible.
Go ahead.
It's the King James Version, but you can look it up, whatever version you have. Again, Genesis 12:2-3 says, "And I will make of thee a great nation," speaking of Israel, "and I will bless thee, and make thy name great," Israel's name great, "and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee." So
all these people that are cursing them they're gonna pay the price.
Yeah, exactly. So all these people that started attacking them, for honestly no reason, just out of spite, hate, or trying to conquer this land, it's not going to go well for them.
Now the thing is let's go way, way back. So remember, was it Jacob that had 12 grandsons, and the 12 grandsons were the leaders of the 12 lost tribes of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and they all went to their separate ways, and they all encompassed Egypt. I mean, I'm sorry, in Israel, but they all had their own little areas, and some of them went to Syria, some of them went here. When they went to Egypt, they went to, the West Bank. They went. Judah was one of them, and Benjamin, and Dan. I can't remember them all, but
yeah,
because there's 12. I can barely remember the 12 disciples' names. But I know the 12. I know the 12 items on the Lobstah menu.
I bet you.
I bet you there was butter.
There was definitely butter.
So, anyways, so some of them. Iran, Iraq. That was part of Mesopotamia and all that stuff. So, and then they basically they wanted to do things their way.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them fell from God and started their own way, and then started believing in this and that and the other thing. And anyways, I cut you off again. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Yeah. And that's essentially, you just want to, all through his life, you want to stay in God's will. But for Israel, it's just sad what's going on right now, and it's sad that the devil's really attacking them.
So is the devil loose yet? That was one of the things that I was asking you. Because it says in the end of times that the Lord is gonna he's gonna let the devil loose, and the devil's gonna come out, and he's only got a little bit of time, so he's gonna make hell on earth. Is he out there yet?
He has been. He always has been. Probably not to the full capacity that he will be in the future. Again, we don't know that exact date, but essentially, obviously, God established the church in AD 33, or BC. Excuse me. Yeah. Or it was AD 33. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then after that, it's currently what we live in now up until the rapture. So when the rapture happens, it's not the second coming of God yet. All it is he's just taking his bride, which is the church. So all those who are saved. And then after the rapture comes the 7 years of tribulation. So that's when great famines, war, and all this division will break out. And in that time, there's going to be that one world order, which is then essentially the Antichrist will be running the whole world. There's going to be one religion for the whole entire world. One religion, one government. That's the one world order, essentially, that everybody talks about and says. And with that, he's going to do everything that he can to stop Jesus from when he comes again in the Battle of Armageddon.
That's the weird thing, though, dude, is because he knows he's going to lose. And he is, you and I could have all these different subjects of podcast until the cows come home or until there's no more butter.
Yeah, until there's no more butter.
But the thing is there's so much, and maybe we'll do like a little side thing. So, the book of Revelations really, really, really intrigues me, and it's one of the weirdest books of the Bible and all that stuff. But it's the most telling, and so maybe we'll if you have time, we'll do a different one about Revelations. But it's just weird. The whole thing is just weird.
Yeah, and there's a lot. That's a whole nother subject just in itself, right there.
Now, getting back to Israel for a second. So, and my first question of why people hate Israel or hate the Jews. Christians started the anti-Semitism, and they also use, like I said, because they're greedy and self-inclusive and all that stuff. They also, a lot of them have said it's because they killed Jesus. Now, that's like me saying I don't like black people because some of them robbed the bank. So now I don't trust any of them. A handful of Jews, the heresy, killed Jesus because they were a threat to their power, and that hasn't changed much either, huh? With
and
politics.
Those people that kind of say that they're a little arrogant.
I mean, the Pharisees, not the heresy, the Pharisees.
Pharisees, yeah. Just ignorance.
Yeah.
Those, like, people that are out there saying that, because, I mean, if you're accusing them and that's the reason you're mad at them for, then ultimately, I mean, why wouldn't you be mad at God? Because he's the one that, he had a will and a plan. There's a purpose for that. And he had to execute that, and even Jesus knew that. And Jesus even struggled with that with his flesh. And he had to pray and ask God for the strength to continue with what was going to happen to him, because Jesus already knew. So, I mean, that will, that God needed that to happen in order for his people that he created to be with him in heaven.
Yeah, that's the thing that really is kind of screwy, though, huh, Damian? Because these people that hate the Jews because they killed Jesus, without Jesus dying, then our promise of forever would be non-existent. So they're hating the will of God, I guess, if you really want to boil it down and condense it.
Yeah.
They're hating on God because God said we're going to do this, and it was in the Old Testament too. And then, oh, well, they killed Jesus. How dare you? I hate you. Okay, and my hatred will go for generations and generations and generations. But guess what? Without that little tidbit, without that little bit of history, Christianity would have died a long time ago, because they would have been like, who's this dude walking around?
Yeah, he's like, oh, there's bones are over there.
Yeah. He'd be just another, if you read the Old Testament, you know how many kings there were, and how many begats and begots and butter and all kinds of stuff that they had in the Bible. And can you remember any of them, really? I mean, except for the big names. Jesus would have been just another name in the book. So shame on these people for hating on all the Jews because they fulfilled the prophecy of what it says. And I've got to go to a break. This time is going so quick because it's a cool subject. So, Damian, we're talking about the war. What I read yesterday is that there's a lot of countries that are saying, "Oh, Israel, you gotta just cease fire, man. This is humanitarian stuff that the Israelis are dropping leaflets and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to take care of Hamas. We're going to kill them. And we're going to wipe them all off the face of the earth. And if you don't want to get blown up, then I suggest that you go south. We're going to have a humanitarian ceasefire for like 4 or 5 hours or whatever, so you guys can get down to the southern part where there's actually an area where it's a safe zone, and then some of them are going to Egypt and being allowed to do that. But these people, from what I've read and heard and listened to on the news on multiple venues, is that the people from Hamas are actually using them as human shields. Have you heard the same?
Oh, God. No, I have not heard. That's horrible.
Yes. And they have
Holy
a lot
cow.
of their bunkers up and underneath hospitals, and they have them under schools. And there's a lot of propaganda with war. Take, for instance, they said that Israel bombed the hospital and 500 people died. And it turned out that, and there was multiple media outlets that said, oh yeah, Israelis bombed a hospital and killed all these people. Well, what it actually was, some other more truthful people from the news media, they actually showed a thing, and it was actually a Hamas thing that went up and then popped and then fell down and hit the hospital. It was not Israeli, but you can see that there's again, people hate the Jews, they hate Israel. So what did they do is they try to make it sound like they bombed the hospital, and it wasn't. So
Yeah.
I feel bad for them, and they're being ruthless right now. They don't care.
Yeah, they're doing whatever they can.
Yep, I'm telling you, they're gonna wipe them out. But you're gonna see that a lot of them are gonna escape. They're gonna go to Lebanon. They're gonna go to Egypt, and they're gonna hide. Now, I also have reports that said that the Israelis have encompassed Gaza City and cut it off, cut it in two. So they have the north and the south, I guess, or east and west, I can't remember. And they're going to do some business in there. And they're just going to take care of business. And I feel sorry if there's people that are innocent that are in there, but I guess you don't want to mess with Israel. Israel has been taking it for so long. I mean, look what Pharaoh did during the days of Moses, and made them slaves. And it wasn't until they had all the plagues and this, that, and the other thing before they were set free into the wilderness for 40 years.
Yeah, which, that was only supposed to be 3 days.
Really?
Yeah, they were only supposed to be out there in the desert for 3 days, but they kept complaining, and their contention, and they're kind of going against God throughout that time and his patience with them. It took them 40 years to get to where they needed to be instead of 3 days.
You would figure, let my people go. Let my people go. And then they said, okay, go. And then they're like, oh, this is too hard. I want to get whipped again. I want to make bricks. I want to make Pharaoh's stuff. You wanted to get out. Be careful what you wish for, dummy.
And that's what they were saying too. They would complain and say, maybe we shouldn't have left. But it's like, come on. So, but it just shows kind of the nature of humans, and it's to depict how we need to trust God, because his plans are greater, and we hinder things when we try to do our own way. But back to Israel real quick, and also the United States. A part of the United States' success for so long, a lot believe is because of our kind of devoted dignity to Israel and our forefathers before them, understanding that Israel was the Holy Land, which is why for so long we were always protective over them. Oh, shoot. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were still there.
No, I'm listening intently. That's why you hear the crickets.
Okay. But yeah, that's why our forefathers, they based it based off of the Bible, because they believed in the Lord and they read the Bible and they understood that if they protect Israel, the Holy Land, the chosen land of the Lord, that they will be able to continue. They didn't just do it to have success or to be prosperous, but it's just because of that devotedness to the Lord, and to the Bible. They understood that we will also prosper. And recently, I don't know if it's just rumor or fact, I maybe you might know, but a question for you is if you've heard of anything of us wanting to pull out of being allies with Israel or not. Have you heard any of that?
Okay, so directly I can't answer the question, but what I do see, and I don't want to come off Republican, Democrat, Independent. Let's just say I call it right down the middle, so I guess I'm independent. There is talk that Joe Biden and his administration wants Israel to stop and just, kind of cease fire a little bit, and what they're doing is they're playing both sides of the coin. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what they're doing is they're saying, we support Israel. We support Israel. Here's some more bombs. Here's some more artillery shells and this and that and the other thing. But here, Palestine, here's what I want. I want you to have all this humanitarian aid. And rightfully so, I'm caught because, the people that are getting the aid is probably Hamas. They're probably going in there and disguising themselves as regular Palestinian people, and then they're going to take it and use it for their own purposes, or they're going to sell it on the black market. They're going to do something with it. So, Joe Biden said he wants a two-state area there, a two-state solution, I guess they call it. So I don't know how I feel about that. And you know what? Who am I to make a judgment? Who is America to make a judgment? Those two parties need to sit down and say, you know what? This obviously hasn't worked. What are we going to do to fix it?
Right.
We're not going to be the Palestinians. I think they're Muslim, right?
Yeah.
And then the Jews, obviously, or Hebrew or Jewish or whatever you want to call it. So they're not going to look. There's a reason why Jesus Christ came to the Middle East. It's because there's so much turmoil in the Middle East that he didn't come to Sheboygan. He didn't come to Downey. He didn't go to Pittsburgh. No, he went to the Middle East because there was turmoil, massive turmoil in the Middle East, and he went there obviously for everyone, but because it was needed mostly right then and there.
Yeah.
So I guess a long rabbit hole answer that I gave you is, things are going, it's all political. It's all money. It's all money.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you should really not do that. Here's some more bombs. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Oh, here's some more bombs.
Yeah.
Here's some money. Make sure that you help me out in my next election, but here's some more money. Here's some more, and we have troops over there now. We have aircraft carriers. We have, I think, a destroyer over there. We have assets. We have our boys over there and our men and women over there right now. Mm-hmm. So it's not just, this whole situation is not just a quick answer. It's the two-state solution could be, okay, well, look, first of all, Hamas, Palestine could have had a democracy, but they chose and they voted for Hamas. So Hamas is the group that's running the country, and Hamas hates the Jews, and these people hate the Jews, and that people hate the Jews, and that people hates Hamas. And then Hezbollah hates this one, and then the Houthi hates this one, and the Iraqis and the Iranis and the Egyptians, and they all hate each other. So it's a hard thing, but America needs to keep their nose out of it.
Yep. That, and I mean, honestly, the clear answer, for me, this is just what I feel, my belief, that we always need to stay on the side of Israel again. And I feel the further we stray from that, the worse things will get here. Yep,
I agree. Because you just said in Genesis, it said, "Blessed are those that blessed is that area," and He's going to curse the people that don't.
Mm-hmm. Again, that's Genesis 12:2-3. If anybody wanted to see that.
So it's just weird. There's some good people over there. There's bad people over there. Unfortunately, it seems like the bad people are the ones that benefit from being evil. And
crazy.
Yeah. And then the good people are the ones that end up with the shaft. But I think it's one big test for the good ones to see if they're going to stay good. Well, I want to thank Damian for being part of this gala event we call And Stuff with Donnie D. I hope you keep listening, and we'll talk to you very soon. That was cool, wasn't it? Wasn't the one I wanted, but this is the one I wanted because it's the end of the show. Thanks again. Ron and Mary Albe, Papa Do from Hog Talk Nation, Arias Physical Therapy, Ken Grody Ford, Cara and Russell, and 207 Lobstah with lots and lots of butter. This is Donnie D. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.